It's the weekend. Welcome to Spiritual Growth on the Go. I'm excited because this is week 4 of our Spiritual Growth on the Go Man Cave. You may notice that I'm in the Man Cave this week all by myself, but that's because we had a few scheduling issues, but we're still going to make it work. So with that being said, we're going to get right into it. This week, our topic is name a time your faith was put to the test. Now, if you're like me, you probably have had many instances where you had to have faith because that was the only way you could get through that particular situation. I know I have. My faith was put to the test back in 2017. 2017 was one of the most devastating years for me. It was a year where I lost my mother, and for those who know me, you know how close we were. We would talk sometimes multiple times throughout the day. I would call her. I didn't want anything. I would just call just to hear her voice because that was my ride or die. And the way she left here, it was very abruptly and quick. And she went to the hospital for scheduled surgery to have her gallbladder removed because she had been, going back and forth to the doctor, and that was their recommendation. So, we were just all thinking, okay, she's still pretty young. She'll bounce back from all this. So, we were concerned, but we weren't just like panicking. And when the doctors, brought her back to the hospital room, they diagnosed her with stage 4 cancer. Now, I don't care how strong you are as a Christian, when you hear the news like that, your faith is immediately shaken. At that point, I was really upset with God because I felt, hey, this is my mom. She hadn't done anything wrong to anybody. She's one of the nicest people you will meet. And one of the things I had to learn is it doesn't matter how nice you are, no matter the work you do, things happen to good people too. And you just have to have faith in God to bring you through those situations. So the doctors immediately recommended chemo. She started going to chemo. She was doing fine with chemo, but she didn't know the chemo was starting to cause blood clots. So those blood clots eventually led to her having a stroke. She lost the complete movement in her right side. She could no longer talk. We had to do things like feed her, and I was just, bitter, angry, upset, crushed, sad, whatever you want to, add in that situation, because I felt, God had just done me wrong, but I still knew no matter what the situation was, I still had to have faith. And ultimately, that illness was just, the combination of all those illnesses, the stroke, the cancer, the gallbladder, it was just too much for her to bounce back from. And when he took her, this was like probably within a span of a month from her just being, regular mom to just, transitioning. It took me a while to get over that because I was bitter. I felt, God had let me down. I was angry, but I still knew I had to have faith in God to get through that situation. And 3 years, it'll be 4 years this year. 4 years later, I'm still learning I have to have faith in God because it's a continuous process. So I did learn a couple things from that situation. I had to learn, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what title you hold. You could be the nicest person. Things are just still going to happen. God wants you to have faith in him. The second thing I had to learn was everybody doesn't overcome illnesses on this side. Sometimes your healing takes place, once you transition and you go to heaven. The third thing I had to learn was, no matter what the situation is, you still got to trust God because at the end of the day, he's the one that has the last say. So with that being said, this is my story. I'm going to kick it over to Minister Jarrell, and he's going to talk about a time when his faith was put to the test.
Hey, Asa, that's a great question. A time that my faith was really tested. I have to look back on, I want to say maybe 2013. I was 2 years out of college. I was working for Best Buy as a loss prevention supervisor. At work there, they told me, hey, we needed you to work there, and cover the store. It was myself and one other individual who was part-time, but the store manager wanted me to be there, 24/7 to make sure that pretty much nothing was stolen. So I'd work there, every day, all day, the whole time the store was open, from open to close. I went in one day and I got called to the back by the store manager, and there was corporate HR sitting there. They had accused me of stealing time. I guess for some reason or another, he could not explain why I was being paid so much. So one way or another, I ended up being fired. I went home. I was really new in my faith, new in my calling. I had just really accepted my calling, maybe a year prior. And when I got home, a lot of my flesh, I want to say, was telling me to go back to everything that was comfortable to me. Back to smoking, back to drinking, back to doing whatever it took to, please me and get some money, whatever, But instead of doing that, I just fell on my face and I prayed to God. Probably one of the second realest prayer that I had ever prayed. I prayed to God. I said, God, just allow me to get a job and support my family and, us not be homeless. I prayed to God, and then I got on the computer. I got on Indeed. I got on Career Builder at the time, Monster.com. And this little voice told me, apply for everything, every job you see, even if you don't qualify, just apply. And I did. And I applied for every job I saw. I applied for so many jobs, I really can't even remember telling you that I applied for a safety manager job for Watco Companies, which was a railroad company. I ended up getting that job, starting off at 27 years old as a safety manager, making more than what I had ever made before. I went from making $14 an hour to $40,000 a year. And to show you how good God is, I got that job in less than 2 weeks. I went, I interviewed, I got the position, and I've been working now as a safety manager for going on 8 years. And God has done nothing but bless me with more as I have continued to be faithful with what he has given me. My faith was really tested at that point in time because I wanted to do everything that my flesh told me to do, what the world would tell me to do. But instead of walking by sight, I decided to step out on faith that God is able and will do exactly what he promised that he would do for me, which is a good life, good plans, success, excess, and just continued favor, grace, and mercy throughout these years. And what shouts me is the mercy, because I'm not good, I'm not perfect, I'm a sinner, I fall short every day. So the grace and the mercy is what does it for me. But yeah, that was a time that my faith was really, really put to the test.
Minister Jarrell, thank you for sharing your story. I learned a lot. I did not know you went through all those situations, but I'm glad to see everything worked out for you and you're a better person because of it. Look, I'd like to take a moment to thank Minister Jarrell and our very own Senior Pastor, Dr. Reginald S. Boyce, for coming on and being a part of this Spiritual Growth on the Go Man Cave for this month. When I asked these two brothers, they readily agreed, and they were like, we'll do whatever it takes to make it work. So they came in. Our pastor couldn't be here this week due to scheduling reasons, but weeks 1 through 3, he was here. I enjoyed hanging out with these brothers and just, talking back and forth about the different issues that we face as young adult men. So with that being said, ladies, we did not forget about you. We are working on something right now just for the young adult ladies. We're going to do something special just for you all because we don't want you all to be left out. Be sure to stay tuned because we'll be announcing more details as we finalize that. So be sure to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified each week when we post content. So that's my time. Until next week, stay safe, be blessed. I'll see you next week.